Welcome back to the Press Club. Before the break, we were talking about the potential that the internet has for doing harm, and it's a tool.
Yes. I was saying that
how you use it.
we have two other examples apart from this one we've just looked at in terms of a statement of an expression of frustration by IPA became world news. I can give you two other instances. There's one where there was another letter purported to have been written by a visitor complaining about Castries being dirty. And that is the subject of the editorial in today's Voice, which is saying, basically, we always saying Castries dirty. So now our tourists see that as well. Let's see whether the Minister of Tourism and the government will finally see it now that a tourist has seen it. Yeah, but a tourist doesn't have a name and address.
And here's the problem I have with that editorial. At 2 points, it makes the reference to the authorities. In the final paragraph, it also goes on to name the Ministries of Health, Environment and Social Transformation, the Castries City Council, Solid Waste Management Authority. These people can only do so much. I think we as individual St. Lucians need to take responsibility for our environment. I think that's what the point that the tourism minister was making, you know, and it's something that we've referred to in other programs. The lack of national pride, you know, the lack of understanding of the vital role that tourism plays in our economic development. The vulnerability of tourism, and that's not something that just lost on the ordinary citizen, it's lost on the media, I think, as well, which is why, you know, we have stories like what went out, going out. You know, do we understand what our role is? Do we understand terms like development journalism? Do we practice development journalism? You know, you made that point earlier before the break, you know, do we acknowledge as media people the role that we play in making or breaking, you know, that industry?
No, it's unfortunate, and again, I have to refer to the only organization that has the possibilities of addressing these issues in a collective way within the profession is the Media Association.
Yeah, but are you not being guilty of doing the same thing as The Voice by putting it on the Media Association? What about the individual journalists?
Well, what I'm a tireless advocate for let's get together, let's talk, let's do. And I'll continue to do that. One of the reasons I haven't been attracted to the Media Association is because I see it more interested in discussion of issues that are not really relevant to change. I think the whole process of looking back and not looking ahead, we seem to be stuck in that because the Media Association is responding to issues affecting the media or issues the president perceives that he needs to comment on. I hardly hear the association as an association making a proactive statement about concern about something that needs to be done and calling on members to say, hello, listen, we need to begin to do things for ourselves. We need to begin to discuss how we could metamorphose the organization from one where we're talking and discussing to one where we're doing and acting as well. Let us see how best we could utilize the possibilities we have as media, because more people today understand and accept the role of the media than 20 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
And therefore, in a society where we have everybody wants to be a citizen journalist or an reporter, you know, the speed with which the internet news agencies locally can get information. An accident, you know, happens, it's there. You also see some beautiful things. There's the photo of the day shots. You know, people make use.
Like the back of the Star today.
Yeah, the back of the Star today is, I mean, you know, Bill Motley needs special mention. I mean, and that is the sort of thing. Where do the technical people come in? I see the Media Association as still only being a grouping of journalists broadcasters, but where do the technical people come in? The whole question of the effect, the traumatic effect of camera persons having to film gruesome killings. I mean, the local camera, video, TV camera people, they felt it in April. And their decision to seek counseling was not initiated by the association. It was they who felt it and went in, and of course some reporters participated. To what extent do we let the technical people know that they are as important as the reporter and the journalist? You know, the camera persons, the people, you know, at the station whose job is essential to getting the word out. To what extent does the association see itself as making use of the available possibilities to get the assistance and the help that would be needed to facilitate discussions? Like I said, there are people who have quarrels. The DPP's office has serious issues with how the press covers the courts. Are we going to have a situation that continues whereby the press waits for the DPP to complain and to reply, and the DPP waits for the press to make another mistake to complain again? Eventually down the road something is going to bust. We have several times on this program referred to instances where when nothing is done, it ends up with the state, i.e. the DPP or the judge, summoning the press and saying, I'm tired of worrying you, behave yourself. Why don't we learn from that and say, hello, Madam DPP, come, let's talk. What are we doing wrong? I don't hear us accepting that we may even be doing anything wrong. All I'm hearing is we're saying nobody should tell us how to do our work. So therein lies my reluctance to go into what I refer to as the glass house and want to pelt stones from inside. You know, I will be willing. I spent 20-something years in the first media association here. There's a lot of experience that can be shared. There's a lot of information that can be made available to avoid the constant reinventing of the wheel. You know, but the wheel remains the wheel. You know, it remains a circle. I mean, even the whole question of language, the effect of internet language, I call it, you know, having to use short messages in order to save money and get the message across. It is seen as, I'm not sure that any study has been done, but it is seen as limiting the preparedness of the reporter or the journalist to concentrate on grammar, composition, the role of and use of words in the message. So that I see again this morning, and persons like us, we read not like the average reader, but we read as professionals, and we try to, we read with more eyes than the regular person. And I see constant references in all media houses to terms like in speaking to the document, in speaking to this issue. A document can't talk, it can't speak. I saw another one which says the issue centered around. Now that is impossible. You know, a center is a center can't go around. You know, so I'm saying even things like that, those of us who have come from old school in terms of the necessity to ensure that we do not continue making mistakes that we do not even know are mistakes. And these mistakes become a fashion. So that I'm speaking to ministers talk about that.
You make an interesting point, because you talk about old-fashioned mistakes, but what you might be deeming as a mistake
it's a fashion.
It's not just a fashion, but it's the evolution of language, because the linguist will tell you this. There's a
communication.
There's a term that escapes me now. I think it's preparation of language, where, you know, over time
language grows.
It grows. You know, words become, you know, assimilated, you know, and take on new meanings, you know, that sort of thing. So whereas bad used to be one thing before, you know, bad now has a new meaning.
I was telling my granddaughter, she told me, I jump. I said, you jump, but you stand up the same place. she said,
she was startled.
Yeah, she was startled. I said, you had to skip a bit. And she told me, forget it.
But we're due for another break. Let's take that break. When we come back, we'll talk about some of the other stories making the news.